On an Earth-like planet called Eternia, there's a great kingdom named Eternos, home to a legendary weapon known as the Sword of Power. According to legend, only one chosen hero can ever wield it, someone destined to protect the kingdom from anyone who wants to conquer it. The sword itself is kept safe inside Castle Grayskull, watched over by a powerful guardian known simply as the Sorceress, whose entire purpose is making sure it never falls into the wrong hands. At the palace, young Prince Adam complains to his mother, Queen Marlena, that his father barely speaks to him anymore. She explains gently that his father, King Randor, is buried in responsibilities of ruling the kingdom and encourages Adam to attend his combat training instead of moping about it. Adam, clearly uninterested in fighting and a little worn down by it all, tries to get out of it, but gives in when she pushes. At training, Duncan, the kingdom's man-at-arms, leads a group of children through combat drills, explaining he's been training them since they were small so they can defend themselves, especially with enemies like Skeletor actively plotting to seize Eternos. Adam is paired up with his friend Teela, Duncan's daughter, who turns out to be far stronger than him, easily landing every hit while Adam can't touch her once. King Randor watches the session and is visibly frustrated seeing his son struggle. He tells Duncan plainly that Adam needs to be strong if he's ever going to rule, then grabs a sword himself and spars with Adam directly, knocking him down and telling him the world won't go easy on the weak. Stung, Adam walks off alone, and Teela catches up to comfort him, telling him his father is only hard on him because he loves him and wants him ready to be king one day. Before they can finish talking, Skeletor's army launches a full assault on Eternos, blowing up buildings across the city. Adam races to the palace to find his parents, and Duncan promises the king and queen he'll protect them. The kingdom's soldiers fight back, but Skeletor's forces vastly outnumber them and cut through their ranks. Duncan urges the king and queen to head for Castle Grayskull, and on the way, Duncan fights off a group of Skeletor's men single-handedly until he runs into one of Skeletor's most dangerous soldiers, Trapjaw. Duncan tells the king and queen to keep moving without him, then engages Trapjaw directly, stabbing him with a dagger, only for Trapjaw to strike back and knock him down. Teela sees her father fall and fears the worst, though thanks to hidden armor he may have survived. Realizing Trapjaw has planted an explosive, Duncan grabs his daughter and flees just in time. Meanwhile, King Randor, Queen Marlena, and Adam are nearly at the castle when Skeletor and his men cut them off, demanding the king's surrender. Randor tells Marlena to take Adam and get to the castle without him, forcing her to make the painful choice to leave him behind. Randor fights back hard against Skeletor's men, but is overwhelmed and captured. Skeletor takes the king's crown for himself, declaring Eternos now belongs to him, and turns his attention toward Castle Grayskull, determined to claim the Sword of Power next. At the castle, Marlena and Adam reach the sorceress, who already knows everything that's happened. Adam retrieves the sword, and the sorceress tells him she's going to send him to Earth, Marlena's home planet, to keep him safe and keep the sword out of Skeletor's hands. Marlena tearfully agrees, telling her son she loves him and to never forget Eternos. As the sorceress opens a portal to Earth, Skeletor arrives and blasts a laser at Adam, trying to rip the sword away from him. The sorceress shields him with her own magic, reminding Adam that he needs to invoke the power of Grayskull to unlock the sword's strength, then sends him through the portal. Adam makes it to Earth, but the sword slips from his grip and is lost, and he falls into a lake below. 15 years pass. Adam, now an adult, sits in a restaurant with a woman he's seeing, telling her the story of his childhood on another planet. Unimpressed, she assumes he simply lost it and walks out on him. Back home, Adam vents to his roommate, Hussein, who tells him plainly that no woman is going to stick around while he keeps telling people this story, and suggests he let it go and focus on his life here on Earth. Adam refuses, insisting he truly belongs to Eternia and is the prince of Eternos, and that he needs to find the Sword of Power to return home and save his kingdom from Skeletor. For 15 years, he's searched everywhere for that sword and never found it. The next day at work, Adam posts pictures of the sword across social media, offering a reward to anyone who can help him track it down, all while his boss, Susie, calls him into her office and threatens to fire him if he doesn't start focusing on his job. Right in the middle of that conversation, he gets a message from a stranger claiming to have found the sword, asking him to meet at a comic store. Adam rushes over, and the man points him to it, mounted in the hand of a toy statue. Adam breaks the statue's arm to take it, ignoring the store owner's threat to call the police, and races home with it. Once there, he has no idea how he's supposed to get back to Eternia, and is confused that the sword doesn't seem to be giving him any powers at all. He decides to sleep on it, but wakes up to police officers already in his room, placing him under arrest. On the way to the station, they run into a street full of panicked people fleeing a creature attacking everyone in sight. The moment it spots Adam, it leaps onto the police car, and Adam immediately understands this thing belongs to Skeletor and wants the sword for itself. He bolts from the vehicle, but the creature, Beastman, chases him down and corners him. Just before it can kill him, a woman drops in and knocks Beastman clean off a bridge. Adam is stunned to realize it's Teela. Beastman recovers and lunges at her, but she slams a car door into it and pulls Adam away to hide. When he asks how she found him, she explains she sensed his location the moment he touched the sword. They run for her ship and take off, escaping Earth. When they land back on Eternia, Adam is devastated to find Eternos in ruins. Teela tells him Skeletor destroyed the kingdom and has been holding Adam's mother and most of its people prisoner ever since, with no word on what happened to his father. The kingdom's surviving warriors have gone into hiding in a secret cave, planning their next move against Skeletor's rule. On the way to the cave, one of Skeletor's men spots them and quietly follows, hoping to locate the hideout and report back. Skeletor's monster, Beastman, returns to him and admits it nearly had Adam before Teela intervened and got him away. Thrilled at the news, since it confirms the Sword of Power is somewhere back in the kingdom, Skeletor orders it be found immediately. He then meets with his advisor, Evil Lyn, telling her he wants that sword by any means necessary so his power can grow enough to conquer every planet in the universe. Evil Lyn agrees to track Adam down. At the hideout, Teela introduces Adam to the kingdom's warriors, who mock him for being physically weak and tell her he'll be useless to their cause. Frustrated that Teela brought him without warning, they lock both of them up for going to Earth without telling anyone. Inside the cell, Adam finds a robot and a man passed out on the floor, face hidden. Just then, Skeletor's men, tipped off by the spy who followed them, launch an attack on the hideout. Hearing gunfire, Adam convinces the robot to break down the cell door, and it agrees. Teela wakes the unconscious man, and Adam is shocked to realize it's her father, Duncan, alive after all this time. He has the robot, Roboto, carry him, and they flee toward Teela's ship. There, they run straight into more of Skeletor's men, including Trapjaw, the same soldier who once fought Duncan. Adam tries reasoning with them to back off, but they only laugh at him. Trapjaw pulls out his hook attachment and attacks, and in defending himself, Adam grips the sword and remembers what the sorceress told him years ago, that he needs to invoke the name of Grayskull to unlock its power. He does, and light surges through his body as he transforms, gaining incredible strength. Teela watches in awe, realizing he really is the legendary hero. Adam overpowers Trapjaw, breaking apart his mechanical arm cannon and using it to wipe out the remaining soldiers before the group escapes aboard the ship with Duncan and Roboto. Furious that his men failed to retrieve the sword, Skeletor orders his fleet to pursue Teela's ship by any means necessary. Back at the hideout, Skeletor's remaining forces capture the warriors left behind, and to terrify the rest into cooperating, Skeletor personally executes one of them, Mossman, right in front of everyone. It works. Fisto, shaken, admits that Adam has the Sword of Power. Skeletor then reveals to Adam through a message that his parents are still alive and threatens to kill them both unless Adam surrenders the sword within the hour. Shaken, Adam decides to go through with it, but Teela warns him it's obviously a trap. He insists on going regardless, so she and Duncan go with him. When they reach Skeletor's stronghold at Snake Mountain, Evil Lyn intercepts them, capturing Teela and Duncan and locking them away with the other prisoners. Adam continues on alone to hand over the sword, planning to attack Skeletor the moment he gets close. Instead, he's stunned to find his father, King Randor, alive and brought before him. Skeletor demands the sword in exchange for sparing Randor's life, but before Adam can respond, several of Skeletor's guards ambush him from behind. Adam fights them off one by one, then turns to finish Skeletor himself, only for Evil Lyn to freeze him in place with her magic. Adam challenges Skeletor to fight him one-on-one, man-to-man, but Skeletor refuses, choosing instead to humiliate him by killing his father in front of him. Enraged, Adam breaks free of Evil Lyn's hold and unleashes a massive blast of the sword's energy at Skeletor, but it misses, tearing the surrounding structure apart instead. Rocks come crashing down on King Randor, mortally wounding him. Adam rushes to his side, begging him not to die, telling him he isn't weak anymore, that he finally became strong the way his father always wanted. Randor tells him he was wrong to think strength meant force, that real power was never about muscle, and that the kindness Adam always had in him was its own kind of strength all along. He dies in his son's arms. Grief-stricken, Adam is caught off guard, and Skeletor knocks him unconscious, taking the sword and throwing him in with the other prisoners. Marlena rushes to Adam's side once he's brought in, overjoyed to see him again after 15 years apart. He tells her everything, apologizing for failing to save his father. Meanwhile, Skeletor tries to use the sword himself, but nothing happens, since its power only responds to the one it chose. Adam, furious, he nearly strangles Evil Lyn for promising him otherwise, but she explains there's a ritual that can be performed to redirect the sword's power onto him instead, though it can only be done inside Castle Grayskull. Skeletor orders her to gather every soldier they have to surround the castle so no one can interfere while the ritual takes place. Back in the cell, grieving his father, Adam is approached by Duncan, who tells him Randor died proud of him, and that the only way to truly honor that is to prove he's ready to lead their people against Skeletor. Adam is moved, and just then spots his childhood pet, a tiger named Cringer, alive and well after all these years, and is overjoyed to see him again. Inspired, Adam comes up with a plan, using Roboto to blast apart the rocks surrounding their cell. He rallies the other prisoners, telling them that on Earth, he learned success was never about one person alone, but about working together, and convinces them all to help break out. The plan works. They overwhelm Skeletor's remaining guards, seize their ships, and head back to retake Eternos, where the kingdom's warriors clash with Skeletor's army, while Adam, riding Cringer with Teela, races toward Castle Grayskull to reclaim the Sword of Power. As Skeletor and his men flee toward Snake Mountain, Trapjaw destroys Duncan's robot, Roboto, in the chaos, sending Duncan into a fury. He leaps aboard Trapjaw's own ship, smashes through the window, and beats him down before rigging it with an explosive and jumping clear before it detonates, killing Trapjaw for good. Reaching Castle Grayskull, Adam leaps down and rushes to reclaim the sword, while Teela squares off against Evil Lyn. Inside the castle, Adam and Skeletor clash directly. Skeletor shatters the Sword of Power with his own staff and stabs Adam, then uses his magic to trap him inside a tormenting vision of his old life back on Earth. Inside that vision, the sorceress appears to him, healing his wound, and tells him the truth, that the power was never really inside the sword. It was always inside him. She chose him as the hero not because of the weapon, but because of the compassion and humanity she saw in him that so few others carry. Freed from the vision, Adam reforms the broken sword and once again calls on the power of Grayskull, transforming back into Eternia's champion. Rather than attack right away, he offers Skeletor a way out. Leave the planet and he'll spare his life. Skeletor laughs it off, mistaking the offer for fear, and mocks him as a coward too scared to use his full strength. Furious and determined to prove he isn't afraid of anything, Adam plants his sword into the ground, refusing to rely on it, and takes Skeletor on directly. The fight ends with Adam turning Skeletor's own staff against him, destroying it and disintegrating Skeletor completely, finally freeing his kingdom from its most dangerous enemy. With Skeletor gone, Adam chooses to let his mother, Marlena, take the throne instead of ruling himself. 6 months later, Eternos has been rebuilt, thriving once again. Duncan gathers the warriors together and shares that he's finally repaired Roboto. Afterward, he asks Adam why he chose not to take the crown, and Adam explains that ruling a kingdom is an enormous responsibility, and there's still a great deal he needs to learn before he's ready for something that big. Duncan agrees he has a point. Teela then asks him if he's picked a proper hero name for himself now that he's become the kingdom's champion. Adam decides on He-Man, and rather than leaving to return to Earth, he chooses to stay and protect his home, with Cringer standing loyally by his side, now transformed into the armored Battle Cat, ready to answer Eternia's call whenever trouble strikes again. And that's the full story of Masters of the Universe, a movie about a reluctant prince who has to lose everything twice before he's finally ready to become the hero his kingdom always needed. If you enjoyed this recap, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.